So hello and welcome back to our Kwik-E-Mart build. I thought I'd start with a sign. I know we've already built one. It's exactly the same as long as you've got your 4 blocks on the ends, including your corners. Obviously missing the second row of our oak planks and the steps. It's pretty straightforward. I'm only chucking it on the video really just to make sure everyone knew that it was definitely going on the side. And really, to give me a chance to talk you through the video itself. At the moment, I have tried to cut out a lot. You wouldn't believe I've spent quite a bit of time on this video trying to cut out where I've tried experimenting with things. This was probably one of the easiest builds in the fact that it was square and that it was a lot of the same block. At the same sense, it was actually one of the hardest when it comes to the roof. It was one of the most awkward ones I've ever done. I've never done a roof like it myself, until this one of course. And then we've got the signs, which made the build obviously a lot bigger than really what I would have done if we didn't need signs on it, because now it's a size of a house, whereas realistically I do like to keep my builds in one sense in a nice size, and by nice size I mean keeping it at a level where it's big but it's not so big that it's actually harder to do your build. So hoping that you guys, I don't know if you would have already done your sign. If you have, obviously just skip forward an extra couple of minutes and it will take you up to where we just start going through a bit of the outside. Now guys, I have edited this film quite a bit because you wouldn't believe I have spent a couple of hours on this build really just experimenting with stuff, because it was such a plain building and trying to find like things to really do, the garbage bin, the phones. It just wasn't straightforward, and it took a lot of experimenting with different materials to try and really find something that represented it. I think we've really done it well, to be honest, and I always say you never know how these builds are going to turn out. You start off and you think, no, that looks nothing like it, and then somewhere at the end I think I must be improving in my builds as I'm going along. One, in the fact that you get used to what can work, what doesn't, and in that sense I know I've got quite a bit better. In another sense, you get to a stage where you're not sure at halfway point where you're going with the builds. So this video is realistically just completing the outside of the build and really just trying to find an ending that I was happy with for the outside. Any pauses like this is me looking over the pictures, really making sure of what I'm doing with the build itself. Now we're just about to move on to where the garbage bin would be held, and for this I'm just using the same material as I used for the door itself at the back, and I just take it up 4 blocks high, trying to in-keep it with the build itself, and I come across leaving a gap of 4. That block will actually stay there, and then of course the row behind it will be there as well. I just use it as like a corner piece. Obviously at the time I wasn't too sure it was going to stay there. I was more interested in keeping my dimensions right. So like I say, I'm just going to build these up 4 high, leaving a gap of 4, and then building my corner piece. So taking it about 6 blocks all in all, and like I say, just putting that corner piece in, making it 4. And guys, a couple of times through the video I will come back away from the build just to really sort of check that my dimensions are right. Now guys, to make the bin I've gone for cobble wool and blue wool, and also the shower tubs or the bath tubs. I'm just going to place one the second block over from the wall, and then on the second block over from the other side of the wall, leaving a gap of 2 and coming forward a gap or two, sorry, and then placing them again. And then we're just going to line it with blue wool all the way around, and you could do this literally all the way across, filling in the gap as well, just really trying to make it look that it sat on top of wheels. It was the best I could think of. Obviously some of you guys are going to look at this and think, oh, you can improve it. That's a good thing. You know, it's never a bad thing to try and improve on someone else's build, because your ideas have got to come from somewhere. So for the end, like I say, I built my wall up, and I'm just going to place the extra 3 across the sides, leaving the front empty, creating sort of an open look to the bin. Now the roof was a real challenge for me, because I really wasn't sure what to do. So I didn't use the hopper in the end. I used the shower bottom, or the bathtub, or no, cauldron, sorry. I always refer to it as a shower because in the houses that's what it ends up being. So using the cauldron, I just place it all the way along. I suppose you could use the black wool or coal if you wanted to, or anything really that you feel would create the look of, you know, a hole in the bin. Really, I should have put a blue row across the back just to fill in the back of the bin, but I didn't think about it. Now for the lid, I'm going to use Netherrack fencing. Netherrack slab. Like I say guys, I do go through my materials a little bit. There was a lot of experimenting on what I felt was best. So as I go across, I'm going to build 1 row straight on top of the blue wall closest. And as I'm doing here, I'm going to go up 1/2 a slab. And I'm going to knock the first one away, just so I can put it on the end. And then doing the same here, just going to build up 1 more level, to which I then do actually fill in the gap underneath, and then placing 1 extra here and 1 extra on the other end. And I felt that that was probably enough to make it look like a lid of a bin. And for the handles, I thought we'd use the tripwire hooks, and I placed 2 on each side, on the sides, and then 1 in the middle on the front. And I am sorry guys that you got to see me going through my options, but that was just me. I mean, you wouldn't believe how much I've actually cut out of this. For me at the moment now, it's now coming up 2:30 in the morning, so it's been a long night of me just playing around, really just trying to complete the external side of things so I can really get cracking on with the inside. As you see there, I've just used the tripwire hooks just to create some sort of handles. I mean, if you can think of better, by all means use your own ideas. So we're just gonna go ahead and try and create our phone boxes, and I've left if you work your way in from 2 off the very side of the building, I go 3 high, and I do eventually actually go 4 wide, and 4 in length and 3 in height. And I use an item frame, and I put a sign in it and turn it to the side, and I literally turn them both alternate ways, to create the look of like a dial pad. I really didn't know what to do for a phone, so I just placed a tripwire hook on both sides just to sort of give the impression of a receiver, I suppose. Now guys, I can't guarantee that looks great, but for the wires coming out the top, I've just used dark oak fence, placing 1 on top of the other where the dials are, and then running it up the wall into the roof. I'm going to use a sign coming 3 in, on the 3rd block in from the windows, or the frame of the windows on the front of the build. It just says parking only, and we'll be doing that on both sides. Now I didn't like the idea of using signs because I hate the fact of how small they are, but at the same time where item frames and paintings really just don't do it, so it was basically just down to signs. It was the only thing we had to work with. So like I say, same again on this side. And that is the 5th block up. And for the windows, I'm just going to place paintings to try and create the posters in the window. In the end, I stick with one that just goes sideways, and over here I just want one that's long in length. I don't like the idea of these big pictures, so I just use one like that, just to sort of create the posters. I know they look nothing like it, but at the same time it's better than leaving it completely free of anything. So now I'm just going to use my fencing, the iron fencing. Oh, sorry, I'm skipping myself now. I'm just going to run myself a path across, and in dimensions it's going to be 3 long, and realistically you don't have to do this all the way across. You only want to be going across the front of the building, not including the garbage area. So we're going to do it 3 coming out from the building, and literally doing it only running along the side of the building. So where you see the front of the building, you're just going to run your slabs all the way down, and you'll be doing that for 3 rows side by side and the inside of the door. So if I run these across now, literally stop there where the edge of the orange clay is, and doing the same at the other end. But at the other end it does actually stick out a little bit from the side of the building. I'm not sure if there should be a path going all the way around, but I've just stopped there. And like I say, we're just going to do the same just on the inside of the door here. We may change our mind as we go inside. For the inside I'm a little bit undecided. I'm thinking the quartz block, and then obviously we can always use different pieces to create the mats. Now for over to create the box pile, I couldn't use chests because they just don't lay on top of each other or next to each other once they've reached a certain amount. So I went for a jukebox and an oak block. So just using the jukebox and an oak block, I'm just going to create 3 wide, 3 on top and 3 in front. So creating another 3 on the top there, and then just 1 in the middle, just to really make it look like a bunch of boxes have been left there. So to try and create the little bike stand here, I'm just going to place 1, and you're going to have to skip 1 every block. So I'm not going to wait the middle one there, and then placing 1, another 2 over. Now I am sorry about cutting off there, guys. I just had to, I was playing around for a little while and I couldn't find anything that worked, so that's how I had to leave it. Now guys, I'm just going to literally show you what I'm doing dimension wise, and for me I'm going to come out 4 wide from the building down this side of the building, and I'm going to be cutting all the way around the building. And for me, I've got, there should only be a little path at the back, so I'm only going to the 2nd block and cutting that away. And these animals, I've really got to stop them spawning in the world, really. They do get in the way of when I'm laying blocks or trying to cut blocks away. So guys, there's no right or wrong way. Well, there is a wrong way I suppose, but for me, I just wanted to come out about 4 or 5 more than what the garbage disposal was. And I'm not sure how far I've gone at this point, but I'm sure it's 5 blocks, and I'm sure I extended it a bit more to 6. So for me, I've already got a road here, so I've got to cut away my slab in here just to really create enough room for the parking space at the front. And quite honestly, that's me just making do so I don't have to move my road. And basically, that is the space I'm going to be going to. Now, without showing you guys me filling in and turfing away, I'm basically just going to be filling in with my brown clay. And I won't make you watch it, we'll just skip forward. There you have it, we've done that. Now guys, I'm going to use white wool for me, my parking spaces, just purely because I get bored of using yellow all the time. And I'm just going to place it 7 blocks long, sorry. And then place back in my my grey stained clay. And I'm going to be using a space of 6 before I create another row. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the 7th. Pulling out my 7 blocks. I think it's 7 anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 7. And obviously doing the same for another 6 spaces. The only difference between this build and the actual Simpsons build is that now I've got 4 parking spaces instead of 3. But that is due to the size, and it would look very odd if I made the parking spaces a lot bigger. So I thought best just to add an extra 1, just to really keep it looking better. So guys, moving on to my wall, we're just going to use sandstone. Now I don't know if you guys would want to go all the way to the front of the road, or wherever your perimeter is, but lining around where we've put the footings or the flooring, we're just going to line around with the sandstone wall. And you use this one purely because it had like the cobbled look to it, the brickwork look, but it wasn't actual bricks, so it keeps quite in keeping with the real thing. And I've built these 2 high, and then I just use iron bars, going up 3 levels with iron bars. You could probably do 4 to really in keep and go as high as what they do in The Simpsons itself. But for me, I felt 3 was high enough for now. If I change it at a later date, I may do, I may not. But I'm happy with the way it looks now. So I'm just going to run another line over the top of these. So now we're going to jump down, we're going to do the same with the sandstone across this way, but this time raising our wall up to 4 levels, trying to really in-keep it. I have got to knock away that sign afterwards really, unless I just leave it there for something to look at the back, I suppose. But like I say, I'm going to take this 4 high, and it's running all the way across the back. Leaving that little lane there, because for some reason there does seem to be a little lane there. I'm not going to be covering it in weeds or anything like that. For me, it's just more, when I look at it, even from a distance, I want to recognise it as the Kwik-E-Mart. And if you notice in a lot of my pictures, or when I'm viewing it from a distance. Now obviously it looks great up close, but I like to think it looks good from a distance, that I can recognise it straight away, or anyone else can recognise it straight away. So that is our back wall, that's as high as I'm taking it. And now for this wall, we're going to take it, I'm not sure if I ended up doing 2 high or 3 high, I'm pretty sure I would have done it 3 high, but we don't go all the way to the front, we leave like a small gap from the road. Realistically, I'm gonna have to now put in a road down the side to now start building up on Springfield. But obviously there will be now houses in front of this. Yeah, so I've done 2 high, and I'm just going to use cobble wall, just placing 2 blocks in front of that. So guys, I will be leaving you with this. Please like, share the videos, because I haven't been sharing anymore, just purely because unless it's on Twitter through followers or things like that, I really don't want to be spending another couple of hours a day sharing. But apart from that guys, I really hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching.